What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's your boy KB coming at you from Underground Studios for episode number 535 of the podcast. Sunday night edition. By the time you guys are listening and watching this, it is Monday. We got a lot to talk about, though, on this episode. From the Phillies, the Sixers, A.J. Brown during the Eagles Autism Challenge, getting nearly run over by a car for blowing a stop sign. We've got James Harden contract rumors, the boys, the Arkells. We've got news from them and what they've been up to lately. And it is potentially the beginning of a long burn. As Pat McAfee says, we're going to have to think of it a saying for ourselves here on Underground Sports Philadelphia. But as Pat McAfee has coined it, up to something season. It's hot in the streets from the early stages of up to something season. Sorry about that. My headphones were like all over the place. But it is early stages of up to something season, potentially here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. But before we get into everything that I'm diving into on a solo dolo episode of the podcast, make sure you guys are following us at Underground PHI on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI. We just passed 600 followers over there. That is awesome. Keep it pushing. Let's hit 1K on Facebook sooner rather than later. Trying to build up the Facebook community because I know you guys are there. You're present, you're strong, and you want the content. We're working on putting content over on Facebook for everybody. And, of course, follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311, which you can see on the video version right below me. And if you want to follow me on Instagram as well, KBIZZLE11 is the Instagram. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you decide to consume your podcast from. We are there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping the show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia, and helps this podcast just continue to grow, and we get to take it to new levels that if you would have told us when we started podcasting, we would have thought you were crazy and that there was no opportunity for that to happen. But go subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Truly does help the show continue to grow. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. Subscribe. We are 13 subscribers away from our company-wide goal of 500-plus subscribers by Memorial Day. As I sit and record this on Sunday night, we are sitting at 487 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We need to get to 500 before Memorial Day. It needs to happen. Go subscribe. Be a friend. Tell a friend. If you know somebody who's not subscribed, go tell them what Underground Sports is cooking. You get full video episodes of this podcast twice a week. On Wednesday nights, it's with my co-host and my brother-in-law, Matt Castorina. You get full episodes of every podcast on our network where we're covering Philly sports and Survivor when it's in season. We're going to have the season finale to talk about next week of Survivor 44. We talk about pro and college lacrosse on the Outside the Box podcast with myself and DJ Hughes. We talk about streaming platform TV shows and movies over on Streamer Season with myself, Dylan Mazzola, and OG from Underground Sports, and Christian Wisniewski. We talk about professional soccer, Premier League, Serie A, Champions League with Matt Castorina and Dom Ponteri. We talk about pro golf with Stephen McAvoy and a plethora of hosts right now as we are in limbo of finding a new co-host. Right now it is Owen Liberator, who also co-hosts Underground F1, or F1 Underground. How do we F1 Underground. I messed that up because of the social media handles. Duh. F1 Underground, our newest podcast on the network, where we're covering all things Formula One with Casey and Owen Liberator. So Tell everybody that's where you get full video episodes is on our YouTube channel. You get shorts, clips, live streams, interviews, the whole 9 yards, all on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. Go subscribe right now. And of course, this podcast, Underground Sports Philadelphia, that is presented by the city of Vineland, our hometown, getting behind us. And whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or are a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process. Their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you are considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Main Auto LLC, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland for their continued support of this podcast. Ladies and gents, the Phillies have won a series. They've broken out of the little rut they were in. 5-game losing streak comes to an end on Saturday as they beat the Cubs. And the win streak is upon us as they have now won 2 games in a row. 3 in a row, that's a streak. They beat the Cubs. I was at the game on Sunday with our season tickies. Myself and CFO Margie witnessed the Phils win 2-1 to clinch the series over the Cubs. The Phillies have already improved their record against the Chicago Cubs from last season as they went 0-6 against the Cubs in 2022. They're 2-1 against the Cubs in 2023. Taijuan Walker pitched on short rest on Sunday and got the job done. He looked solid. That's exactly what you wanted from him. Through 87 pitches, Rob Thompson said after the game the goal was 90. He got to 87, got through 5 innings on 3 days rest. That's an incredible feat from Taijuan Walker, especially with the way he's been pitching this year, and I know it's been frustrating for him. It's been frustrating for fans, and it's good to see him kind of have a nice little get-back, get-right type of game, especially on short rest. Bryson Stott, everything was A-OK on Sunday when he hit that pinch hit home run to finally cut the 0-0 tie and put the Phillies ahead. Cubs get a late 9th inning home run off of Craig Kimbrell, who gets his 399th save of his career. And the Phillies are now back in their winning ways. They won 2 straight. They are currently in 4th place after the 5-game skid there in the division, and the Mets have gotten hot. The Marlins have stayed the Marlins somehow, some way. But the Phillies are really going to have to kick it into high gear as Memorial Day approaches. And this division is not going to be easy. No matter how good/bad the teams in the division are, it's going to be a slugfest in the NL East and trying to clinch a postseason spot when other teams are good, like the Pittsburgh Pirates hanging around with the Milwaukee Brewers in the Central. You got the Diamondbacks who are coming to town, who are 7 games over 500 this year to start the year. And obviously the Dodgers, the Braves, and then you have the Mets, and somehow the Marlins are still in the mix as we approach Memorial Day. But the Phillies 2 games under 500, 7 games back in the division, but only 2 games back of the Mets, which would put them right back in the wild card. And that's we've said it a number of times. That's more than likely going to be your ticket to the postseason is the wild card. So you're going to have to battle out against a bunch of other teams, not just the teams in your division. But the Phillies 2 in a row. It's a good sign. And Aaron Nola was spectacular on Saturday. You want to see those types of performances from him more often than not. Go 7 strong innings. Phillies offense came to life on Saturday as well as they won 12-3. And now you've got a tough Diamondbacks team coming in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 2 6:40 p.m. start times, and Wednesday, the getaway day for both teams, as the Phillies will go on the road at 1:05 p.m. on Wednesday. So an afternoon Wednesday game going down there to wrap things up against the Diamondbacks before you hit the road for a long, long gauntlet. 4 against the Braves, 3 against the Mets, and 3 against the Nationals, as we've been touting for a month now. This little Memorial Day gauntlet stretch into the month of June for the Fightin' Phils is going to be very interesting to navigate. You know, you want to see, hopefully, the Kyle Schwarber Grand Slam on Saturday propel things for this team. You want to see the Bryson Stott pinch hit home run on Sunday propel things for this team and really get them back in a groove where they're feeling confident and playing well, and just not forcing things. It feels like, you know, early on this year when Bryce was out, and now obviously you're still missing Rhys Hoskins, you're still missing Derek Hall, so you're still shifting guys around out of their natural positions and everything. There's a lot of like forcing at the plate. You want to get guys comfortable again. It was nice to see Trey Turner on Sunday get that double. He really needed that, to say the least. You know, he's been struggling a ton at the plate. He's been struggling defensively. It was nice to see him finally get a day off on Saturday and kind of just get his head right and kind of clear things up, hopefully for him, and hopefully he starts to figure things out, because right now Trey Turner in a Phillies uniform has less home runs and less RBI than he did for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. But, you know, the Phillies sit at 22-24, and as I record this, it is May 21st, breaking the fourth wall. I feel all right with where they are. I want to see where they were last year at this point. 2022 record by month. Here we go. Go to the old baseball almanac. So to compare it to last year, when obviously the Phillies went to the World Series in May, they went 10-18. Last year, May was a catastrophe for this team and kind of led to the Joe Girardi firing, where 10-18, not going to cut it. You look at this year for the Phils in the month of May so far, and you still have about a week and a half left of the month, with some pivotal games that are going to be very, very important. But you look at this Phillies schedule right now, in the month of May, you got swept against the Dodgers. Lost, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the Phillies in the month of May right now are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 7-10 right now. Last year in the month of May, the Phillies went 10-18. So they're 3 wins away from tying their record in the month of May last year in 28 games. They're 7-10 right now. They have a lot to figure out, as the month of May will conclude with the Diamondbacks, the Braves, and 2 against the Mets, before you hit the month of June. The pitching has to step up, and it's going to be tough, especially on Tuesday for this team when you're kind of going bullpen game on Tuesday. You don't really know who's starting. Monday, it's going to be Zach Wheeler. Wednesday, it's going to be Ranger Suarez. Those are the 2 games that are going to be really important for this team. Win those games, navigate Tuesday, and then you hit the road and figure things out in Atlanta, which I don't know. Yeah, nobody's is really scheduled as probable starters just yet. But you navigate everything. You win the Wheeler and Suarez starts against the Diamondbacks. I think you feel really good. You're only 1 game under 500 going into Memorial Day weekend. If you lose that Tuesday game, which is going to be a full-fledged, all hands on deck bullpen game, which is also brutal that you have to throw one of those as you have this NL East stretch run occurring. So your bullpen's going to be a little taxed, which is tough. So, I mean, hopefully it doesn't kill your bullpen, and you're able to make some things happen in the Wheeler game. Hopefully Wheeler can go 7-8, maybe a complete game, but you're hoping to get a long start out of Zach Wheeler, and you're hoping Ranger Suarez can figure some things out. It's been a tough go here for him since coming back from the injured list and getting right after his injury. So you're hoping, Ranger can go like 6 innings after the bullpen game. You're hoping Zach Wheeler can save your bullpen and go 7-8 innings on Monday, and we'll see what happens. As the Diamondbacks come to town, they are a pesky team. They're going to be tough. You're going to have to play well, and Wednesday's going to be real tough when Zach Gallen's on the mound. Dude's an absolute stud. And you're going to have to bring the bats, especially on Wednesday when you play against one of the best in Zach Gallen. But let's get to the NL East run differential and the MLB run differential, which I do have a fun note on that. It's brought to you by our friends over at Wasted Wedge. A new age of golf has arrived, and if you're looking to be the talk and envy of your group and create memories with your friends and family, look no further than the lineup of Wasted Wedge products and merchandise from our friends at Wasted Wedge. These Wasted Wedges are a blast to drink shots out of on and off the course. I want you guys to think your traditional shot ski that you saw back in college, how lunky and annoying that was to carry around. You had to use hot glue to put shot glasses onto it. You don't got to do any of that. This is all made in the USA. It's foldable, compactable, can fit right in the side pocket of your golf bag. It's easy to transport to a bachelor party, to a wedding, to a party in general. Plastic cups, baby. Plastic cups. It keeps things cleaner. Anybody can choose their alcohol of choice to take shots out of this thing. And they're a blast to take shots out of on and off the course. You guys can check them out at wastedwedge.com. Look at all the products they have to offer. Some awesome merchandise as well in terms of apparel. And you can find them and follow them. Be sure to follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. That's wastedwedge.com. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Comment, let them know that we sent you there. And make sure you buy some stuff. And when you do, tag us. We'll retweet it. We'll share it. We want to see where you guys are getting your Wasted Wedges from. And our partners will love to see that you're posting about them as well. So remember the name Wasted Wedge and wastedwedge.com. The NL East run differential is looking a little something like this, everybody. Nobody to guess. We'll get into Pat Pitts and where he is tonight, as he typically joins me on the Sunday night shows, but we'll get into that a little later on. Right now, the Atlanta Braves, still the only team with a positive run differential, sitting at 29-17 with a plus 63 run differential. The New York Mets at 25-23, above 500 for the first time in a long time, still at a negative 14 run differential. The Miami Marlins, somehow above 500 at 24-23. They have a negative 54 run differential. Also, the Mets have eclipsed the 200 runs scored marker for the second most in the division. The Philadelphia Phillies at 22-24 have 198 runs scored this season for the third most in the division, and a negative 28 run differential. And then you have your stolen franchise, Washington Nationals, at 20-27, who have a negative 21 run differential. Looking at some other weird trends across the National League to start. The Milwaukee Brewers are in first place, 4 games over 500 with a negative 2 run differential. It's giving Minnesota Vikings. Everyone else outside of the Reds in that division have a positive run differential. Somehow the Cubs still do, even after the Phillies shellacked them on Saturday. The Marlins have the worst run differential in the National League and are above 500. Let that sink in. The Dodgers and Diamondbacks both have positive run differentials. So hopefully the Phillies can knock the Diamondbacks into negative and Phillies get in the positive this coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then looking around the rest of Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays sitting at 34-14 with a plus 124 run differential. And the Oakland Athletics with a negative 168 run differential. And the Texas Rangers in first place in that AL West with a plus 108 run differential, making them the second team with a run differential over 100. So pretty fascinating stuff from the run differential there. But the other thing to note here, I have to pull this up because I saw this tweet and the run differential bit has gone viral, ladies and gentlemen. It has gone full send, national level, as Buster Olney on Sunday morning tweeted run differential by division and broke it down AL East, NL Central, AL West, NL West, NL East, and AL Central for the run differential totals, and that's the order there by each division. AL East with a plus 225, NL Central with a plus 13, AL West with a negative 8, NL West with a negative 11, NL East with a negative 58, and the AL Central with a negative 161. Buster Olney tweeting about run differential in baseball. We've gone national, ladies and gentlemen. We're hitting the public eye with the national insiders, the national reporters talking about run differential. Matt and I started talking about run differential as a bit like 2 years ago and have just evolved it into an every week occurrence, checking in on the run differential. I think it's important. It shows you your offense. It shows you how your pitching's doing. I think run differential is a stat that we need to be paying way more attention to in baseball as a collective whole, because it does tell the story a lot more than some of these individual stats. It shows the story a lot more than, just your typical ERA, your batting average, your on-base percentage. Obviously is important, but it shows the story of who you are as a team, I think, more so than your wins and your losses. Because you can tell, the Miami Marlins being 24-23, but have the worst run differential in the National League at negative 54. That's crazy, and tells you they are playing well above what they should be. They are winning games in closer fashion than they should be, and they're performing well above expectation, because their expected win-loss is 18-29 right now, which would be the worst in the National League East. They'd be one of the worst teams in baseball. And then you look at a team like let's see if there's any other teams that would check out for. Yeah, the Minnesota Twins are 25-22. They have a plus 43 run differential, and their expected win-loss output is 28-19. So they're playing a little below expectation. There's a lot to take away, I think, from run differential and expected win-loss that gets calculated from your run differential and where you are as a team. And just putting it out there, we were the first podcast on the record to calculate run differential and make it a thing. And now Buster Olney's tweeting about it. So you're welcome, Major League Baseball. Underground Sports Philadelphia is helping fix your statistics that need to be calculated as a grand whole. But from the baseball diamond, let's head to the hardwood. It's brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company, the best in the game. We're working on some new designs that should be up and in the storefront very, very soon, hopefully by June 1st. I'm hoping to get everything over to PHI Apparel Company. And then going into the summer, you guys are going to have some fresh designs ready to rock and roll, because PHI Apparel Company provides unique designs and high-quality clothing for the great fans of Philadelphia and our podcast network. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out in the crowd at Citizens Bank Park, going to the bar, hanging out with the homies, hanging out with your lucky lady, your special man, whoever it may be. You're going to stand out because they're going to be like, where'd you get that shirt? Where'd you get that hoodie? Where'd you get all of that? It's from PHI Apparel Company. Our listeners can use promo code UNDERGROUND for 10% off any apparel when you shop online at phiapparel.co. It is the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing. If you get your merch, you're supporting everybody here and helping us take this company to the next level. Can't thank PHI Apparel Company enough for being our exclusive merch provider. Go get your merch, and when you get your merch, tag us, tag PHI Apparel Company, follow them at PHI_apparel_CO on the socials. Tag us. We want to see where you're rocking your merch from. That's phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off any and all orders. Pat Pitts is not recording with me tonight because he went out to go watch the Boston Celtics get absolutely humiliated in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat, against Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, as the Heat absolutely scorch the Boston Celtics by a final score of 128-102. What a time to win by 26 points. Just hilarious. The Celtics stink. You should have known the Celtics stunk when the Sixers were able to bring them to 7 games. The fact that the Sixers took the Celtics to 7 games, and it took that long for them to eliminate the Sixers, who are not in the stratosphere of this Miami Heat team. Don't fool yourselves. This Heat team would have bullied us. We would have been clawing our eyes out watching the Sixers try to compete with this Heat team. They were not built for that moment. The Celtics are an absolute joke. They're down 3-0 to the Miami Heat, and Pat Pitts went out in public to go watch it. Hilarious. The Celtics stink. So, Pat, I hope you enjoyed going out and watching your beloved Boston Celtics absolutely lay an egg and shit the bed against the Miami Heat. Cheers to the Heat. That's who I think is coming out of the East hands down. They're going to make the finals. Unbelievable, and it's going to be Heat Nuggets more than likely because the Nuggets are up 3-0 on the Lakers. So that's your NBA Finals talk because we are worn out by the 76ers on this show. But speaking of the Sixers, Nick Nurse is going to meet with the Sixers about the head coaching vacancy. Daryl Morey said Wednesday that players will not have direct input on the team's coaching search. And Nick Nurse's history with Joel Embiid could come up, obviously, because they have quite a fun history. Nurse will meet with 76ers ownership and management in the next week in regards to the vacant head coaching position, according to Keith Pompey. It's an interesting one. I mean, Nick Nurse, I don't know how he would work here. I don't know if that Raptors team that he was coaching was kind of just like his style of the team that he needed to be coaching. He's creative, aggressive. You know, he's comes from working in the then D League, the G League now. Went to Northern Iowa and he's worked he's a grinder for sure. I just don't know if Nick Nurse is the answer. I don't know if any of these retreads are the answer. You heard us talk about who we want to see with our instant raw reactions on Wednesday's show with myself and Matt of just give us an unknown at this point. You know, we don't need these retreads here. Is a retread going to work for a team like the Sixers where they are right now as an organization? It's a weird thing. Nick Nurse would be fun, though. He's obviously friends with the Arkells, who we'll talk about later, so maybe Nick Nurse comes on the podcast if he gets hired. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if Nick Nurse is the answer. I don't know if, him being the first guy to kind of be the domino to hit here is a sign of anything. Who knows? Daryl Morey said that the search is going to be long and lengthy. I don't think it's going to be, resolved quickly. So they're going to take their due diligence and time with putting this all together, and we'll see what happens there. But before I keep moving along with the Sixers, I do have to bring this up. I meant to bring this up with the Phillies. This comes from Inside the Phillies, which is from Sports Illustrated, Fan Nation, from Cade Kistner, who wrote this article. And it links to, I want to give the proper credit here, The Athletic. Jim Bowden wrote about this, where apparently Philadelphia Phillies could be linked to one CJ Cron, who is like the fan casting of the Rhys Hoskins void to be filled at first base. Jim Bowden wrote in The Athletic, the Rockies are unlikely to re-sign Cron, who's 33 years old, so trading him now makes a ton of sense. The Rockies are in last place in the NL West. They don't seem to be going anywhere. Cron has hit a total of 57 home runs with 194 RBIs over the last 2 seasons for Colorado and represented them in the All-Star game last summer. Teams that could have interest include the Marlins and the Phillies. If you're the Phillies, you can't let CJ Cron go to the Marlins, so you have to pony up, and I think trading for CJ Cron makes a ton of sense. It allows you to put Alec Bohm back at third base. It allows you to bring Edmundo Sosa off the bench. It allows you to keep Cody Clemens on the bench, or if you send him down to the minors, whatever it may be. It just lengthens this bench more and makes his team much more competitive. CJ Cron can hit for power. He can drive runs in, and he's a rental. He's going to be a free agent. He's 33. He's definitely a rental for this team. I see no harm in going and getting a CJ Cron to add to this lineup. It lengthens the lineup that much more. And for context, this season, CJ Cron is currently looking like this statistically for the Colorado Rockies. So I pull up their roster here. CJ Cron. He is currently hitting .228, 6 home runs, 20 RBI, 703 on base plus slugging percentage. I would like to see that for sure. I think CJ Cron makes a ton of sense for this team. He's not on the active roster right now. He must be on the injured list. CJ Cron makes a ton of sense for the Phillies. Across the board in so many ways. He's a veteran, proven leader. Bring him in. You can plug him kind of anywhere in the lineup, and I would love CJ Cron in a Phillies uniform. So it's not like the Phillies have not traded with the Rockies in the past. They've done it a number of times over the past few years. So the relationship is there. We'll see if Dave Dombrowski wants to pull the trigger now or later. I think if you pull the trade trigger now, it makes a lot more sense because then you get a little bit of a longer time with CJ Cron. So we'll see what happens there, but that is definitely something we will be monitoring as things progress closer and closer to the trade deadline and things of that nature. June 1st rolls around, everything like that. So CJ Cron watch is officially on for the Philadelphia Phillies as we head closer and closer to the month of June. But back to the Sixers. It's brought to you by our awesome partners over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer of Underground Sports Philadelphia. New logo reveal on the socials this past week. Looks very clean. Can't wait to get merch with that logo on it and everything in between. Kenwood Beer is a refreshing light beer. It's 4.1% ABV, 127 calories, 10 grams of carbs. The best light beer on the planet, guys. Hands down. I know I don't drink personally, but everybody I have afforded the opportunity to try Kenwood, everybody from our company that has had Kenwood, swears by it. It is their number one go-to beer. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny tracker to see who has Kenwood on tap in the Philadelphia area. Buy Kenwood at your local Philadelphia area liquor store, or in Eastern Pennsylvania, you can buy it at your local Whole Foods. Light body, light calories, plenty of flavor, the best light beer on the planet. You must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, guys, please, please, please drink responsibly. I find it hilarious because whoever is tweeting this was potentially not drinking responsibly, and that's not something you want to do. James Harden, these content curation websites and accounts of that nature put out there that teams believe that James Harden has an appetite for a 4-year, $200 million contract in free agency. One, appetite is totally getting used by Woj when he's tipping picks during the NBA draft. That is a hilarious choice of words. James Harden, did nobody watch the playoffs? Did nobody watch the playoffs? I know he's our guy back here. We were thrilled when James Harden was here. But did nobody watch what happened in the playoffs yet again with James Harden? Like, to give 33-year-old James Harden a $200 million contract over the next 4 years, that is crazy. He's going to be 34 in August. You're going to be paying James Harden until he's going to be turning 38 when the contract ends? You're out of your minds. There's no way. And there's no way the Sixers can afford to do that. There's no reason the Sixers should do that. I don't know what team is going to give James Harden that money. So, I mean, I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless thinking about James Harden getting a $200 million contract in free agency. Blows my mind. I just don't see it happening. Best of luck to him if he can get that. The Sixers should not. That would be organizational malpractice to give James Harden that much money for the next 4 years in the current state that the Sixers are in. It's just me. That's just me. Let's keep it pushing, though, as we'll talk more about the James Harden contract rumor with Matt and get his take on that on Wednesday as well. The Eagles Autism Challenge 5K, bike ride, and everything in between was this past weekend. It's brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. There's no better way, guys, to upgrade your fantasy smack talk than with our friends at Trophy Smack. They've got belts, they've got rings, they've got metal wall art, they've got last place trophies, they've got, of course, trophies. They do the engravings. They've got everything that you could possibly need to upgrade your fantasy smack talk in your fantasy sports leagues. Do yourselves a favor. Go to trophysmack.com/underground and upgrade your fantasy smack talk today, because I'm sure that trophy that is in your league is absolute trash. It's absolute basura. There's no need for it. Go to trophysmack.com/underground and upgrade your fantasy smack talk today. AJ Brown was live on Instagram riding his bike in the Eagles charity event for the Eagles Autism Foundation, and he's live, and a car blows a stop sign and nearly runs over A.J. Brown. That driver almost became the most hated human in Philadelphia because you almost ruined our sweet baby boy A.J. Brown because you're blowing stop signs in an area that is clearly blocked off for a charity bike ride, run, and everything in between event. What are you doing? Pay attention. And then the person in the car allegedly was yelling at A.J. Brown to pay attention. No, buddy, you should be paying attention. You blew a stop sign and almost ran over our superstar wide receiver. You almost became the most hated man in Philadelphia. A.J. Brown tweeted he thought he saw stars on the car, insinuating that it was a Cowboys fan, which is hilarious. A.J. Brown is so online. It's so funny. He rolled with the punches. He's hilarious. The video is all over the internet. It's absolutely insane that happened to A.J. Brown, and I'm just glad he's okay, obviously, first and foremost. But the fact that somebody damn near ran over A.J. Brown while he was on his bike just doing a charitable cause for the Philadelphia Eagles. He said, "You can tell Mr. Lurie I'm not doing this no more." I was dying. I'm glad A.J. is okay. I couldn't believe that occurred, and whoever that person was, I truly hope you learned your lesson, and hopefully you're not blowing stop signs anymore and running over superstar Philadelphia athletes, because you almost became the most hated human in the city of Philadelphia by far. Unbelievable stuff. Little announcement from the homies, the Arkells. They are doing the damn thing once again, ladies and gentlemen. They are back. The Arkells have a new album. The title track is out. Came out a couple days ago. It's called Laundry Pile, and the full album drops September 21st. I really want to work to get the Arkells on the pod again to hopefully promote the album. Obviously, they have done our music since their Rally Cry album, and we interviewed them way back in the day, probably way before we should have, in person at the TLA. What a time that was, and hopefully we get to do that again very, very soon with the homies when they go on tour again, hopefully for this album. But they posted on their Instagram, when the band got together at the top of the year, it was just to hang and jam. There was no new songs on the agenda. I had been writing in the fall, but with no expectations to do anything with that material. The songs were all little conversations I was having with myself. The more the band hung out, the more connected we came to each other and to the music. These hangs ended up being the most deeply gratifying recording experience we've had as a band. They saved the day. Anyone who keeps a journal will tell you that writing is one of the best ways to work through the chapters of your life, and that's what Laundry Pile is about. It's the messy parts that end up teaching you a lot. A good mix of love, regret, desire, shame, and most importantly, the longing to get it right. The cover artwork is by Andrew G. Scott, and you can order their vinyl and the rest of everything on their website. Thanks for listening and sharing our music. Means the world. The album cover looks awesome. I can't wait to finally have time to sit down and listen to Laundry Pile, more than likely on my ride to work tomorrow. September 21st. Manager Ash, if you're listening, if you somehow still listen to this podcast since the time we worked with you way back when in 2019, we would love to get the boys on to chop it up, talk some more sports, talk about the album, and promote the album. Because the Arkells have been homies of ours since the jump, pretty much. Since 2018, they have been rocking with us, and we can't thank them enough for their unbelievable and just like undivided support of Underground Sports Philadelphia. They are simply the best. I couldn't be more thankful of them for their support and everything. So shout out to them. Go check out Laundry Pile. This is not an ad. This is not us, getting paid to promote this album. This is just friends supporting friends. Go get their album. Go order everything for Laundry Pile. Go listen to it. Download it. Stream it. Whatever your choice of listening to music is. Listen to Laundry Pile. Put it on repeat. I can't wait to check it out. It is awesome when I see the Arkells are putting out new music. It's awesome how big of a fan base they have in Philly. And as I record this a year ago today, the 21st, I was going to my first concert post Pandy Wandy, and it happened to be the Arkells. And man, that was just such a needed experience to finally get back to live music. And it's crazy that it's been a year already. It's gross. Time moves way too fast. But couldn't be more stoked for the boys. Go check out Laundry Pile. Go check out Arkells. If you don't know who they are, they do our intro and outro music on this show, on Outside the Box, and they are some of the most talented musicians and just talented people that I have the pleasure and opportunity of knowing on a bit of a personal level. So that is awesome news that more new Arkells is on the way. Laundry Pile, September 21st. Book it. We'll be at the tour, wherever it is in Philly. We'll be there, boys. So shout out to the Arkells. And go check out Laundry Pile. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, been doing some talking, some schmoozing with people. And as Pat McAfee has famously coined for his company, Up to Something SZN, we'll have to think of our own for Underground Sports Philadelphia. But we have the pieces in place in the earliest of stages for Up to Something SZN, but make it Underground Sports. We're gonna be pulling off some stuff when we're talking here in 2024. Hopefully, that is the goal. So we're about a year away from Up to Something SZN coming to full fruition, but there's some things that we've been made privy to that would be awesome right here in our backyard of Vineland, New Jersey, that if we're able to put the pieces in place, get the right people involved, and get the backing and the support from the community, which I'm sure we would 100% have, we have something pretty cool. That give it time, but this is just the first tease. So remember, when you're listening to episode 535 of Underground Sports Philadelphia, I teased something here that in hopefully a year and a half years time will come to fruition, and I'm giddy about it. It's it's invigorated a new creative brain in my head to make things happen, and cheers to Up to Something SZN, everybody. Not a free ad. Liquid Death, if you want to sponsor us, that'd be awesome. You fit our aesthetic to a T. But cheers to Up to Something SZN. And with that, I think we wrap up this episode here. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI. If you want Up to Something Season to come to full-blown fruition, follow us at Underground PHI, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI, Twitch.tv/UndergroundSportsPHI if you want to watch every Wednesday night show live with myself and Matt at 7 p.m. Eastern Time before it goes live on your podcast app of choice and on YouTube on Thursday. You can follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311 and KBIZZLE11 on Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Truly, if you want Up to Something Season to come to full-blown fruition, subscribe to the podcast feed. Wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, leave a 5-star review. That really will kick things into gear. It helps the show grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire podcast network. And go subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show twice a week. You get shorts, you get clips, you get live streams, interviews, every podcast on our network. Go subscribe. We are on the countdown. We have a week. To get 13 plus subscribers on the YouTube channel. Trying to get to 500 plus before Memorial Day. Let's do it before DJ comes to HQ. DJ will be in studio for the next 2 weeks pretty much. He comes in on Friday and will be here doing content. He's probably going to be sitting in on the live Wednesday edition next week and everything. Whole 9 yards. It's going to be a doozy of a time. Go subscribe. Let's get to 500 before DJ comes into town. We can make this happen. 13 more subscribers. Go make it happen. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Go get your merch from PHI Apparel Company. Our exclusive podcast merch is on their website. It's the most effective way and direct way to support everything we're doing. PHIapparel.co. Code Underground for 10% off any and all orders from our friends at PHI Apparel Company. And, of course, this podcast is presented by the city of Vineland, our hometown, right in our backyard, supporting us, supporting a local small digital media business. And the City of Vineland Municipal Calendar features city-organized, city-sponsored, and city-affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the City of Vineland on their social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thanks to Main Auto LLC, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland for their continued support of this podcast. Welcome to Up to Something Season, everybody. This has been episode number 535 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. I'm your boy KB. Talking all things Phillies, all things Sixers, Survivor 44, the finale upon us. We got a whole lot to dive into on Wednesday's show. But until then, I'm getting the heck up out of here, and I'm signing off, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.